great to have you here with us on City Life today. Now, as I said yesterday, these are our last days on Māori television. We thank them for their support since we relaunched in the beginning of May. Our last day with them is on the 31st of July. Now, today on the programme, the latest from the New Zealand Fire Service, Nick from Rolleston Vets, comedian Penny Ashton, entertainer Tim Beveridge, movies with John Hunter and art with Dr Warren Feeney. But first, Tim Hunter from Christchurch and Canterbury Tourism. Good to have you back on City Life.
Good morning. Yeah.
Now, with all the snow, how's that helping Canterbury and Christchurch tourism?
Well, it's great. I mean, I think during June we had a few doubts that we were going to get it. It came, thank God. And very good start to July and very good snow for the start of the school holidays. Now, as you know, in this winter wonderland here in Christchurch, on Monday we thought, well, we'll get buckets of snow up on the main divide. Well, it wasn't quite as good up there as it was on the coast, but we did get new snow on most of our ski areas and we're in pretty good heart for the rest of the winter. Yeah.
Now, despite the skiers being trapped up Mount Lyford on Tuesday night, although I'm sure they're having fun up there. Yeah, have you heard?
Yes, I think they're just about on the way down.
Oh, that's good. You know, how are the mountains going at the moment?
Good. I think we lost some of our early bookings from Australia because we simply didn't have that snow certainty when the Australian school holidays started. So it was pretty clear there were a lot of cancellations. And then we had the ash cloud, and that reduced a lot of flying on the Tasman and for about 10 or 11 days in June. So July's our big month. This is when we get the most of our skiers from Australia. So it's really, really important. And it won't be as good as last year, but it will be good because the snow conditions have been, you know, great since things opened in early July.
Now, there could be some exciting news from Porter Heights.
Yeah, I've been involved in some of the planning hearings. Porter's is thinking about an expansion, so moving, building a ski area in a place called the Crystal Basin. And for those skiers that know South Island ski areas, a bit like putting the captains at Cardrona into a local ski area. It's only an hour from Christchurch. And that would be great because that would be a lot of really good quality intermediate terrain, great for family skiers. And their plan also is to build accommodation on the mountain right from backpacker through to hotel standard, and a lot of it. And for Australian skiers who the ski in, ski out skiing experience is something they do in Australia and elsewhere in the world, having on-mountain accommodation will be very attractive to the Australian market.
All right, so now we're still in school holidays. We've got a couple of days left.
Yep.
What are you suggesting people in Christchurch do with the rest of your school holidays? Some nice attractions?
Well, they need to buy a snow sled and get out and enjoy what's left. No, apart from the very central city, everything in tourism is open. I mean, Willowbank's open, Antarctic Centre has got some new movies as well as the 4D experience. It's all go, and people should also take advantage of the fact that we've got great skiing conditions and take the family skiing.
Exactly. All right. Let's look at hotel accommodation at the moment. We've got enough beds for people coming in?
We have. We're likely to have for quite some time. So we've had a few bits of good news in the last few weeks. The Elms Hotel has reopened in Piccolo Road, so that's another one. So we're up to about 14 hotels in operation in Christchurch, but heaps of accommodation available in the motel sector as well. So we're doing okay, but as I said, demand's been down and a lot of international visitors are spending fewer nights in Christchurch. So we looked at the commercial accommodation results, came out last month, and for the region we're still down about 30% in terms of international visitor nights. And it's not that we've got 30% fewer people here, it's just they're spending fewer nights in Canterbury and a few more nights in perhaps other areas of the South Island. Okay.
Now, the last time I spoke with you, you were encouraging people throughout New Zealand, or people in Christchurch, to invite their relatives and friends from around New Zealand to come and stay with them in Christchurch and do things in Christchurch. Has that been popular?
We were about to launch a campaign when the June 13 earthquake happened upon us, and we really felt that given some of the infrastructure problems immediately post that earthquake, we should just put that off until households were ready to welcome guests. We think that we're getting there now, and we're talking to a couple of the domestic airlines about putting a deal together. So watch the space. We're hoping to announce something very, very soon.
Exciting. All right, another month until spring.
Yeah.
So what have you got planned for spring?
The big Great South Island Road Trip campaign is taking shape, and so we're working on that furiously. But we've got a lot of other regions of the South Island to invest in that. So we're going to be spending about $1.5 million in Australia right over the summer to get people to come to the South Island for the best road trip of their life. So
is that what it is?
That's what the plan is.
Can you tell me a little bit more information?
Oh, well, we've been doing a bit of research on where the best cafes are on each route around New Zealand, but no, it's really highlighting those absolutely fabulous road trips we've got in the South Island. And really pushing those hard to Australians and say, if you want a really good self-drive holiday, come here.
All right, and finally, of course, we've missed out on the Rugby World Cup coming here, but we've still got the Festival of Rugby, which people can come and hang out in Hagley Park, is that right?
Yep, lots going on there. The Ruck Zone, where you can see 8 decades of rugby history in the Dome. You can go and sit in the stands and watch all the Rugby World Cup games on the big screen. So a great chance for locals to enjoy the event, but we're hoping that some of those 85,000 visitors that are here in New Zealand will be in Christchurch, and our accommodation bookings over that period are very good, so I think they will be here. And our own organisation, we've just got approval to put a temporary information centre in the corner of the Botanic Gardens, right beside the museum. So that'll be operating all summer. It'll have 6 counters in there. We think that as the city opens up and the Cashel Mall development gets going, that's going to be a really important area. So that's why we've placed it there.
Great, well, that's good. Tim, really good to have you on the program. Now, how can people find out what's happening in Christchurch and Canterbury in regards to tourism?
They go to christchurchnz.com. That's all on there.
All right, good to have you on the program.
Okay, thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome Mark Thomas from the New Zealand Fire Service. Good to have you here.
Good to be here again.
Mr Dan Coward is away.
Mr Dan Coward is away. He's back from Australia, but he's in Wellington today. He will be back next week in full flight.
I don't believe it. We prefer you now.
Oh, no, you never tell him that.
Yeah, I'm going to. Now, let's look at the big snow. I mean, how many call-outs did you have for that?
Well, funnily enough, we actually didn't receive an awful lot. I think the people of Christchurch, in general, listened to the advice to stay at home and not to move about. We had only about 20 calls that could have been directly related to the snow. The most of those involved a couple of things. Some where roofs of houses were either collapsing or threatening to collapse, just with the weight of the snow on them. And the other thing was with plantings, with trees, branches and so on, the weight of the snow on them were breaking branches onto people's houses and again threatening the houses. So in general, we didn't have an awful lot of calls. Those were the bulk of them, a couple of others to do with power and so on, and amongst them only one motor accident that we attended, which was great.
That's incredible. Do you think it's because we're becoming more aware of things now and we do actually listen to warnings?
Look, I'd like to think so, but I think just looking outside your window, on the Monday morning I looked outside my window and my car had 12 inches of snow on it, and I didn't go anywhere for most of that day.
No, you listened to the warnings.
Absolutely.
All right, let's look at the call-outs for the rest of the week.
Well, the rest of the week has had some, an average number, I guess, of calls. The biggest concern, again, is our famous old one is arson. And we got 16 arson calls this week, and that is far too many. There are some reasons. It is school holidays, and traditionally our deliberately lit fires go up on holidays. A lot of people, if you said to them, your son or daughter is an arsonist, they'd be horrified. But kids that are going out into parks, into toilets and so on, and lighting things, are definitely committing arson, and they will be treated as such. We have had a fairly major fire amongst them, again in Salisbury Street in the city, where a very large ex-boarding house was deliberately lit earlier in the week. And the biggest problem there was a suggestion that there could have still been somebody in the building. And when our firefighters go to a building where persons are reported, some of the things they do are different to what they'd do if they were just putting the fire out. And as much as we have our procedures and so on, our firefighters will take more risks if they think there's somebody in there. It's human nature.
Yeah.
So the person that lit that probably never thought to themselves that they could be putting the firefighters themselves in risk of injury.
This is just completely idiotic behaviour, isn't it? People lighting fires on purpose. I mean, are you working very closely with the police on this?
Have done for several years. We have a very close liaison with the police. We work with them at arson scenes. We work with them at trying to identify our serial arsonists. Sadly, there are quite a few in Christchurch. One of the reasons for that, I believe, is that when a person is released from prison, and we have a lot of arsonists in the prisons near Christchurch, they're not that welcome back where they come from, so they come and live in our city.
OK. Now, going back to this boarding house fire, was there a person inside?
No, there wasn't, as it transpired, but it took quite some time and quite a lot of investigation to categorically take out the possibility that there was somebody there.
All right. Now, tell me about the workmen on the demolition job in the city.
Yeah, one of the buildings in town, which was being demolished, an earthquake-damaged building, had workmen in there using a gas torch, cutting, and unfortunately it set fire to the building. Now, there wasn't a great amount of damage done. Obviously, the building is being pulled down anyway, and the fire didn't get particularly large. So far, the demolition people have been absolutely fantastic in this way. Overseas experience tells us that you are likely to get fairly big fires when mass demolition is being carried out, as it is in Christchurch at the moment. And so far, we've done very well to have only this one event that I can think of. So
you're keeping a close eye on the city and demolition jobs?
Well, we are. We have as much as anybody else. The restrictions on getting into the city, obviously we can go in there to carry out firefighting, but there are parts of the city that would be too dangerous for firefighters to go, and that's why we're really, really trying to make sure we don't have reason to go there.
OK, now finally, another reminder about hot ashes.
Yes, again, we had one this week where some people had put their ashes into a bin and put the bin against the wooden wall outside, and the wall caught fire. We were fortunate, again, it happened during the day. Nobody was hurt, and the fire was reasonably quickly put out. But we can't go on enough to people that ashes take 5 days, 5 lots of 24 hours for them to be cold enough to be actually put into something that is flammable. The biggest problem with ash is that it insulates itself so the heat cannot get away, and eventually if you've got it in a container that is against something that's flammable, the heat will transfer and they do catch on fire. OK,
we need to put them into a metal tin, don't we?
Into a metal tin, and that metal tin needs to be kept outside, well away from anything that is flammable.
All right. Mark, thanks for coming on the programme.
No problem.
Looking forward to having you back here again sometime.
That would be great. Thank you.
After the break, we catch up with Nick from Rolleston Vets. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome back to the programme Dr Nick Page from Rolleston Vets. Good to have you here.
Good to be here again.
Now, today we're talking about FIV in New Zealand's cats.
Yes, FIV. So it stands for feline immunodeficiency virus. So it's the feline or the cat equivalent to HIV, which obviously causes AIDS in humans. And unfortunately, New Zealand's a little bit unique in that we have the highest prevalence of FIV in the Western world, actually, in our cats. No one really knows why that is. Some people think it's because we have a lot of feral cats that keep the disease going. But yeah, it is very unique. So we sort of stand alone there.
Do you think, our cats maybe have been a little bit more promiscuous?
Oh, well, let's start from how it's spread.
OK, how does it spread?
Because, yeah, it's got nothing to do with dodgy unions or little local cats with fishnet stockings on or anything like that. No, it's a little bit more mundane than that. It's actually spread from saliva to blood, so basically cat fighting. So you have a cat with the disease fighting with another cat, and inoculate some saliva under the skin, and that's a great way to spread FIV.
Okay.
So that's how it's spread. It's not sexually transmitted.
Oh,
no.
okay. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah. So, there is that brings about some important control points, and maybe also iterates the importance of being responsible in owning entire male cats, because tomcats have a massive 10 times the territory of a normal domestic cat. And it overlaps all the neighbouring cats. And so if you have a male cat, it is actually a little bit irresponsible in an urban setting not to have the cat neutered unless it's a proper breeding tom, because they they wander around and they defend territory very vigorously, and so that's how we get this spread of disease.
Okay, so how do we know that our cat has it?
Okay, so the way it's detected is through a blood test, and we look for either antibody directed against the virus, or we can look for the virus itself. Sometimes there is a vaccine available, which I might talk about a little bit in a minute. So once a cat's vaccinated, it will produce antibody, so we can get a false positive in that situation. So in those situations we have to go looking for the virus, which there is a test available as well. But the symptoms, they vary, and just like in the human model, with FIV, it causes the virus attacks some of the immune cells, and so it leaves the cat immunodeficient, and that results in secondary infections, and that in fact what actually ends up killing the cats. They either get blood parasites. Very commonly we'll see gum disease when we examine cats, very young cats that shouldn't have the disease at their age, and that sometimes prompts us to look at testing. Sometimes we'll get pneumonias, sometimes we'll get eye infections, and actually infections within the eye itself is relatively common as well. So these are the things that we look for when we're looking for the disease.
Okay, so what can be done to help our cats?
Okay, so sometimes we can symptomatically treat these cats with various antibiotics and medications that can keep them going for years and years and years. The important thing in knowing that your cat's got FIV is invoking those treatments and also putting in place preventative measures to stop your cat giving other cats or the neighbours' cats or your other cats the disease. So that's very important also. We do use a drug called AZT on occasion, which is a drug that seems to diminish the viral load or the number of viral particles circulating, and so it seems to prolong the life of cats, and also we think it might help in stopping the spread of the disease as well.
Okay.
But that's kind of targeted to individual situations based on a cost-benefit basis.
Okay.
There is a vaccine available. It has traditionally been poorly thought of around the world. However, when you look at the statistics, there's actually no proof of any cat that didn't have the condition or didn't have the virus at the time of vaccination that has then gone on to develop AIDS. So it's pretty good, it's stacking up pretty good for the vaccine, even though it's had a lot of bad press from various experts. Okay. And we certainly, in my practice, we do advocate it. We target the vaccine to specific high-risk situations. Perhaps someone has a cat in their household with FIV, maybe their neighbours have got FIV, maybe it's a cat that's been brought in repetitively with cat bite abscesses or fight wounds, and those sort of situations where we're looking at a very high-risk situation. All
right, finally, let's look at ways again to prevent FIV.
Okay, so vaccination, talk about it with your vet whether it's appropriate. Neutering your cats.
Does that stop them from fighting, neutering?
Yeah.
Okay.
It really diminishes fighting.
Okay.
And yeah, so basically being sensible with how you're managing the neutering, and if your cat's seen to be in a high-risk situation, constantly coming in with fight wounds, abscesses, then maybe it's appropriate to look at testing to check the situation, and if they're negative, maybe invoke some protection with vaccination.
All right, Nick, thanks for coming on the programme.
Great.
After the break, comedian Penny Ashton. Welcome back to City Life, and it's my pleasure to welcome Penny Ashton, hot pink teeth and tits. I can't say the word.
You can't? Am I allowed to? Can I say?
Yeah, sure.
Tits. Especially with the New Zealand accent. Hot pink teeth and tits is the name of the show.
Now, tell me about this show. It sounds good.
Well, if you're wondering why I'm wearing this,
Yeah.
the idea is that in 1983, at the age of 9, I entered the Miss Waikuku Beach competition, and I did not get through. I can't say that this was made recently in the reclaiming of history. My sister got through to the semi-finals, and I did not. And I can still remember what I was wearing, so I think it's left a lasting impression
Pink,
on my life.
I'm sure.
No, I don't think I was. I was wearing sort of stripy metallic shorts with a gold. It was the 80s, you know. And I didn't win, and I was devastated. And I've made a solo show about it, 30 years later. It's about the history of beauty pageants and beauty pageants in general. I went to Miss Universe last year. They relaxed their height, weight, and age requirements.
Right? Yeah,
that's right. I was Miss New Zealand. No, I was a journalist, and I was there, and I interviewed a lot of the different beauty queens. And so in my show, there's about 15 minutes of documentary from being at Miss Universe.
Fun.
The rest of the time, it's PowerPoint sort of displays, because you have to have pictures of things like Miss Landmine Survivor.
Oh.
Miss Transsexual International, Miss Klingon Empire, things like that. These are all out there. In fact, I learnt some Klingon, which is Hab Shoshli Kuch.
What does it mean?
Which means your mother has a very smooth forehead, which is a huge insult in Klingon.
Is it?
Yes, they've got those wrinkly forehead things. And there are people that speak Klingon, and there's people that have translated Much Ado About Nothing into Klingon.
No.
Very cool people.
You're going to learn it?
Yeah. But I just did a little bit of that, because I figure you have to have an insult to hurl at the woman that beats you at Miss Klingon Empire.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I sing some songs, like I'm singing Come On Lorraine for Lorraine Downs instead of Come On Eileen.
Oh.
I've changed some of the lyrics and stuff like that to some songs. And I do a jazz dance.
Do you?
So it's an action-packed hour and a bit.
Makes me want to go and see it.
Good. And hopefully everybody else as well.
Do you know what I love the most is that you've actually got the sash made.
Yes, I got two made, because I wasn't sure what colour my costume was going to be, so I had to get the right complementary colour. So there's a guy out in Auckland somewhere that I went out, and he makes these, and he puts a little fringe on with a hot glue gun. It's very high-tech.
And you watch him while he does it.
Made, yes.
Now, you're from Christchurch.
I am from Christchurch.
Because I know this, because I got my entertainment book from the Court Theatre from your dad.
From my dad or my mum.
Your mum.
Okay. Yeah.
But your dad was there, and I had a great conversation with him.
Good.
He showed me around the house.
Oh, did
he? Yeah. And I was like, well, I must go, but I'll stay for half an hour and chat.
Did he try and force drinks on you or anything like that?
No, we just had a really good chat.
Yes, he likes to chat. It runs in the family.
Yeah, he was really interesting. And then at the end, he's like, oh, you might know my daughter. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. I feel quite honoured.
Did he tell you he used to be a condom vending machine salesman?
You're kidding.
No, he did gambling, these little cards that you open in pubs, and if you've got 3 J's, you win $15. So gambling and sex is what my life is based on.
Wow. Incredible.
And we're Catholic.
Aww.
So that's good. I just bashed my microphone.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Good. Boom. Yeah. So how important was you to come back to Christchurch to do the show?
Oh, I know it sounds a bit trite somehow, but no, really, because I was supposed to open in April. It was supposed to world premiere in Christchurch.
Oh.
Because I've done a number of solo shows in Christchurch, and the audiences have been great. They support the local girls, all that sort of stuff. And I was supposed to be at the Harbour Light in Littleton.
Oh.
I've done all of my solo shows in Christchurch either at the Repertory Theatre or the Harbour Light. So I was just really saddened by the loss of the venue. I mean, I've been very lucky to be untouched sort of by the human tragedy element of things. So the venues have really sort of upset me. That's why I'm doing it in a school hall. I never would have done that, but obviously needs must, and it's near my parents' house.
Good.
So in fact, I read diary entries in my show. I have some tragic diary entries, for example, Valentine's Day, a cruel reminder that I am unloved. They're tragic, but amusing. And they were all written within a few hundred metres of the Caparel School Hall.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that I'm actually doing them there. Or sad, I don't know.
Yeah. It is tragic. Yeah. So where are these diary entries from, just out of
I've got
interest?
about 28 diaries, and so that one was from 1995. I've got some good ones from, I'm trying to think of another one. Well, it's permed, and I hate it. That's from 91. So it was a bit late, 91 to perm, anyway, so, fair enough.
Oh, maybe, yeah. So you're based in Auckland now?
I am based in Auckland.
I'm going to guess that because that's where you got your sash glued.
Yes, that's right. I got my sash glued in Auckland, yeah.
So what do you do when you're not gigging?
I try and get gigs. It's quite hard I haven't had a day job for about 12 years, so, you're always looking for work.
Yeah.
I've just moved in with my boyfriend.
Have you?
Yeah, and he's really nice.
Aww.
He's English and he's lovely, so that's been nice. You see other people cohabitating and seem to be quite blissful and think it'd be quite nice if that happens one day, and it has, and it is really nice. He's a poet, and so am I, so we've done a couple of shows together and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm sort of trying to write. I'm a performance poet. I performed at Glastonbury last year.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Doing poetry. It was huge. huge. On my first show, I think I had 25 people watching. It sounds great, you know. I think Glastonbury, I'm amazing, and there weren't very many people there. But the second one, there were more. There were a lot of people there. There was like 200,000 people. It was crazy. Glastonbury, if you haven't been, it's a city. They build a city.
Yeah.
There's often the gentle wafting smell of excrement as well. Because there's a lot of temporary toilets, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So you get used to that. But also, like, you know, I saw Stevie Wonder. I saw, you know, there's so many acts. I wish I'd been to see Beyonce this year, though. I would have liked to see Beyonce with her all-girl band.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I would have shaken my booty along with her, definitely.
You would have done a poetry slam with her.
I don't know if she's into that so much, but yes, there was a poetry slam. I wasn't involved in that, but I do run a big poetry slam. Actually, I ran one. The first time I ever ran it was here at the Ducks Deluxe. R.I.P. And it was called it's Poetry Idol, so that's gone really well and stuff. But no, Glastonbury was crazy. It was nice to be invited.
Now, we are getting the big wind-up.
But I think you're telling us to stop. Hurry up! Shut up!
But you've sold out everywhere, in Adelaide, in Edinburgh.
Yep. It was a small venue in Edinburgh. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, Christchurch, yeah, it's been awesome. Performing at the Repertory was amazing. I had 300 people. Didn't sell out there, but at 300 people. Oh, and in Rangiora, on a big tour last year, I had about 400 people sold out.
Awesome.
So that was amazing. So, yeah. The Paparoa School Hall sees 400, so I'm not imagining I'm going to sell out there, but there will always be door sales available, so you should come along. But you can book at Event Finder.
Okay.
And find all the details out on my website, which is hotpink.co.nz.
Awesome. So that's July 29th and 30th?
Indeed, and then the 5th and 6th.
OK, and it's at Paparoa...
120 Paparoa Street, Papanui.
All right. Hot pink teeth and...
Tits!
Tits. All right. Penny, really good to have you on the programme.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, we chat movies with John Hunter. Welcome back to City Life, and it's time for Movies with John Hunter, thanks to Hoyts. Now, I hear you have been having a bit of fun in the green room.
The green room? I have, actually. You wait till you see what's coming next. We're not finishing with me today, obviously. We're finishing with the...
Yeah.
Wow.
Some razzle-dazzle.
Indeed.
You do look very smart with your glasses as well.
Thank you. I'm just wearing them for a change, so I can actually see my notes for a change.
That's good, so you're not making things up.
That's right.
We love that. All right.
Today we've got a scripted,
a scripted show.
A scripted script.
All right. So we're looking at Captain America.
We are indeed.
Tell me about Captain America.
OK, let's tell you about Captain America. Now, this is an American comic book sort of thing, a Marvel comic thing. Captain America, a.k.a. Steve Rogers, was an art student, sort of a Mr. Puniverse sort of guy. Deemed unfit for military service, he takes part in an American government sort of thing to make him a super soldier. Steve Rogers is played by Chris Evans. People may remember him from the Fantastic Four. He played Johnny Storm, or the Human Torch. There's some good actors in it. Tommy Lee Jones plays Colonel Chester Phillips, and he's part of the super soldier program.
Cool.
And this Captain America has been said to be the best superhero flick since the first Iron Man. So forget all the other stuff that's been like the Green Hornet and the Green Lantern. Forget all that sort of thing. Captain America is the next best thing. Now, this leads on to another movie which is coming out next year called The Avengers, leading on for the title Captain America, the First Avenger. So what have we got? Captain America and his sidekicks Bucky Barnes and Peggy Carter, played by the English actress Hayley Atwell, take on the Nazi terrorist cell Hydra, and they're led by Red Skull, and that is Hugo Weaving. Should we look at the trailer?
I think we should look at the trailer.
Right.
I can't
Roger.
wait.
Steven.
Just give me a chance.
Sorry, son.
I'm saving your life.
General Patton has said that wars are fought with weapons, but they are won by men.
You just don't know when to give up, do you? I could do this all day.
Our goal is to create the greatest army in history.
I should be going with you. Look, I know you don't think I can do this.
This isn't a back alley, Steve. It's war.
But every army begins with one man.
5 tries in 5 different cities. I can offer you a chance.
He will be the first in a new breed of super soldiers.
Why me?
Because weak men knows the value of strength, knows the value of power.
That wasn't so bad.
That was penicillin.
masked man.
Now, Mr. Stark.
Nay, will personally escort Adolf Hitler to the gates of hell.
How do you feel?
Your task won't be simple.
Who the hell are you? The first of many.
Your enemy is not what you expect.
I don't know if I can do this.
This is why you've been chosen.
What do you think?
Oh, lots of shooting.
Yes, there is, isn't there?
Yeah, lots of explosions.
So that's a good action flick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
I'm going to go and see that. Now, this there was a midnight screening at Hoyt's last night, which was past my bedtime. So
Sure is.
Yeah.
Especially to get here on time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and to get my hair in place too. So anyway, I think I'll have to see that this weekend.
Yeah, I think so as well. Looks good.
Probably by myself, I think.
Oh.
So anyway, what else we got?
Now, Lincoln next week. Should we just
Lincoln next
quickly
week, yes,
chat
quick.
about that? What are you showing out there?
Mrs. Carey's concert. It's about a concert that's put together with. It's a sort of documentary for those that like sort of orchestra, violin playing, all that sort of thing. Nice classical music. We've got it at Lincoln next week at
Nice
7:30.
7:30. Tickets on the door.
Tickets at the door, $10 each. It's a new
Cool.
release.
Awesome. Now, New Zealand International Film Festival.
Right. Okay. So programs available now from all coffee bars, places like selected bars like that. Hoyt Cinemas, playing exclusively at Northlands. Screens in August. Also, I've got the Italian Film Festival coming to Lincoln, the Lincoln Theatre. We'll talk about that more.
Okay.
That'll be out in October.
Okay, so nzff.co.nz for the New Zealand Film Festival. We're also just speaking with Nick Paris from here
Fantastic.
tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah,
Enjoy
all right.
that.
We'll chat with you next week.
Good to see you.
Now I'd like to welcome Emma McLaughlin and Tim Beveridge from Canterbury Celebration Theatre's Vegas. Welcome.
Morning, Canetta.
It's good to see you both here. I love your outfit.
Thank you.
You wear this daily?
Well, for the tour, absolutely daily. Not to the supermarket, but...
I like the idea of going out for coffee with the girls. I'd be like, let's go for coffee, but just, you know...
Yeah, imagine the
Let's dress
attention
up.
your table would get. So tell me, I mean, you're on the front page of Canterbury Celebration Theatre's programme. Thoughts? It's a beautiful picture.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's a spectacular looking show. I mean, you know, we've just got one showgirl there, but I mean, when you multiply that by 6 and add a live band in there, it's
Tim,
cool.
you have 6 showgirls, a live band, and yourself on stage.
Yeah.
You're a bit greedy having 6 showgirls.
Yeah, it's you know, my midlife crisis is just starting about now.
Really?
Yeah.
How's that Porsche coming along? Oh, he laughs. Now tell me about the show. What can we look forward to?
It's vintage Vegas. It's I call it vintage Vegas as the way it should be. It's the Vegas in my mind that always has been. You know, when the phenomenon of the showgirl sort of started there, and the swinging music of the Rat Pack and Elvis and Bobby Darin and guys like that. You know, back when live, you know, that's why we've got a live band and everything with us. It's a completely live show, and it's artists who might have been great recording artists, but first and foremost they were great live artists. And yeah, it's that Vegas, vintage Vegas. Would you say that's about right, Emma?
It is.
So what's it like, Emma, touring with Tim and the other girls and the band?
We're only 2 days into it, so it's probably a bit early to... It was quite dramatic getting here, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We went to Wellington as a little stop-in on our way and got stuck there and ended up flying back to Auckland before getting here with all the snow. So we were lucky to be here for opening night last night. We were one of 2 flights, I think, that landed.
Oh, really?
So,
Believe it or not, it was Jetstar that got us there.
Oh, thank Thank you, Jetstar.
No, because New Zealand counts, and I thought it's not looking good for anyone, and then Jetstar, bingo. I'm sorry, there we go. You better send them a bill for that.
Yeah. Thank you to Jetstar for getting Tim and his ladies here.
Yeah. No, but it's been full on, just getting ready for the show and rehearsals and putting the band together, and it's quite a lot of it's a big logistical exercise, and then of course the venue that they've got, the Celebration Theatre, it's an intimate cabaret tent, which is actually great for this show.
Yeah.
But we also had to restage a few things because it's pretty tight in there. But everyone gets a pretty good view of the band.
Yeah, sure.
And the girls, okay. But
and you.
My band are gorgeous. You think the showgirls are...
I mean, I have seen you perform once at the Halls of Quarry, and that was it wasn't as intimate. It was huge theatre for you.
Oh, it's a huge phenomenon. Yeah, that was it was fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that was great. And yeah, this is a completely different vibe. When we walked into the tent, though, it's just got that. It actually feels like it's like a Spiegel tent. It just feels. It's great. A really great feeling with the audience and all that.
Yeah. Tim, it's a marquee. It's a heated marquee. So
I know, but it's actually kind of cool
because so lit intimate. It up. No, what I mean is not a tent. It's a marquee.
Oh, marquee.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heated.
Sorry, tent is It's in a tent.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was sent an email this morning because we had some winners from CC Magazine Go and See Your Show. It's a big, long email, but I've just selected a paragraph which I'll read out. So, we found our seats in... So this is from Chris and Murray, by the way. We found our seats, and next thing I knew, Mr Tim Beveridge was serenading me. No one else, just me. He has a lovely voice. He's quite a tasty geezer, really, isn't he? The show had something for everyone, as my husband, bless him, really enjoyed watching the showgirls. I'm sure I've got one of those outfits somewhere. The band was great, and the music was from the best era of music ever. I mean, no one is cooler than Frank Sinatra, Bobby Darin, and of course, the King. So there we go. That was from one of your...
That's pretty much that's lovely. I mean... a geezer.
Yeah. Tasty geezer. So thoughts?
Oh, a dinner suit is a very forgiving piece of attire, So.
All right. So where are you off to after Vegas here at the Celebration Theatre in Christchurch? Where are you off to next?
We're going right around the country. We go up to Blenheim, then I think we jump down to Dunedin and then make our round away from Invercargill right up the country. We've got a couple of weeks in the middle, and we do the South Island first. And then the North Island. For us. I first directed this show with Emma a couple of years ago. We did a Hollywood Goes to Vegas. It was actually an in-road to Vegas, a big outdoor thing. And we've always thought, wouldn't it be lovely to take it on the road? And so it is really cool to be finally here.
You know that Ashburton is also known as Ash Vegas, so...
Yeah, they stole that from Roto Vegas,
Oh, you know.
Yeah, but again, I'm sure it'll have a resonance there, though,
Yeah. Are you going there?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, good.
Ashburton, we're going, Timaru, Oamaru,
excellent.
Ashburton.
Good. Oh, that's good. And you've got some the tour dates on a website that we can look
yeah,
at?
I'm sure. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, it's pretty well advertised. I think there's newspapers. Actually, yeah, timbeveridge.com. It is.
Is it?
It is. Like show you on my.
Right.
I know, yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have some venue times and dates on there.
Yeah, no, it's all on there. Yeah. So we're next couple of weeks around the South Island. So.
All right. So it's your first time to Christchurch in a while?
Yeah. I don't know. When were you last here?
Yeah, absolutely.
My wife Anne-Marie's a Christchurch girl, and we've just had our first baby, so we're bringing her to see all our relatives and stuff. And
so the family's on the road as well.
Anne-Marie wants to hang around in Christchurch for a few weeks actually, so she's ditching me.
Oh,
sending me on my way.
That's a shame. Well, really good to have you guys here. So you're in the heated marquee, the Celebration Theatre, Canterbury Celebration Theatre at Hagley Park. Until when? Until Saturday.
Okay. And there's still a few tickets available. I think it's selling pretty well. But
good. Excellent. Tim Beveridge and Emma McLaughlin, really good to have you on the program.
Thanks, Canada.
Thank you. After the break, we chat art with Dr. Warren Feeney. Welcome back to City Life, and finally on the program, art with Dr. Warren Feeney. Good to have you here.
Hi, Canada.
Now, you had your gallery opening, Chambers at 241, this last week. How was it?
Yeah, it was a huge opening, absolutely. I mean, we knew there would be a lot of people, but there were easily more than 350 people there, and you couldn't move. It was packed, and I mean, it was great. So many people came in. Obviously, with local artists, the friends, family, and then the art community in general are really interested, and to have a new gallery open, I guess, at this time as well, was all part of it. But I think critically, the social occasion was so good for people to get together that hadn't seen each other for quite a long time, many of them. The caterers, Lizzie's Cuisine, they caught up with hundreds of clients they hadn't seen for a very long time as well. It was a really good evening, really special.
Good. Yeah. All right. So, and that keeps going for a while, doesn't it?
The show that's currently running finishes on the 6th of August, and the 9th of August we have solo exhibition by Chris Pole opening. So the shows will be changing about every 2 or 3 weeks. So there's kind of a nice normalcy about having regular exhibition openings close to the inner city, as close as is possible at present, yeah.
Nice work, all right. So that's 241 Morehouse Ave?
That's it, yeah.
OK, Chambers at 241. Right, John Reynolds, The Violet Hour. Tell me about this.
The Violet Hour. This is a wonderful show, and I'm saying that because some people don't like John Reynolds' work. So I went and had a look at it last week, and it's an installation which is not untypical of John Reynolds. He's been working, I guess, over the last 10, 15 years, he's dealt a lot with installation pieces. So typical of his work, it's made up of small sections or lots of different sections and then put together as a whole. So it's at Paper Graphica, and he came down from Auckland and he brought down 24 drawings with him, which are the Violet Hour. And the Violet Hour is a line from T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. And it's referring to twilight, the time of the day when the world changes and can appear strange and unfamiliar. That's sort of the kind of the metaphor for it. So he used that notion of seeing something you know and then not seeing it for the first time. And he's talked about the show too as being like a cloudburst. And the 24 images are sort of arabesque scribbles all put together, one for each hour of the day. And it's the notion of having the same or a similar image, and then it's varied, and there's kind of an orchestration of the image. So should we have a look at the installation?
Yeah, let's have a look at it.
Yeah.
So is this what he's doing with his works? Is it a single drawing, or are they all separate drawings?
It is a single drawing, but it's also, or they are single drawings, but it's also a single work by itself. Probably one of the things I think about them is that they actually work best in groups of either 2 or 3. I think if you had just one of them, they're good, but they work better when you've got one playing off against another, and they all play off against one another. I mentioned the notion of a cloudburst, and he's done a series of works called Clouds, which is now in Te Papa, which was written phrases and texts of very sort of Kiwi sayings, and he talked about them as being, you know, the English language, and the English language is like a cloud that hangs over our culture. So he's really interested in the idea of a cloud as a kind of shifting, changing, but constant entity. And I think this is it's great to go in and have a look at this. These do work well played off against one another. They've been completed using an oil stick, and oil sticks have only really been around for about the last 10 or 12 years. So for John Reynolds, they've turned out to be a really good medium for the artist to use. They're kind of like a sort of a recent invention. And oil sticks are like really good high quality crayons, and you can draw and scribble with them. And for some people that are critical of his work, that aren't that engaged with it, they feel that he actually does draw, he doesn't paint. So line is really important in his work. And as you can see from that work, they do look like a child who's made all these marks and scribbles.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting, because I can see why people would say that. But there are other things going on there, because if you look at those images, he's worked in that series to the edge of the paper, so he's pushing the lines out towards the edge of it.
Okay.
And if you look at the combination of colour and paper, and then they're played off against one another, then they become really interesting. And that's why I think it's probably considering them as a single work's great, and then also considering them as sort of 1 or 2 in relationship to one another. They work really well.
I've got to say, I think it would look beautiful wrapped around the wall here at City Life.
It would.
Yeah.
It would look brilliant, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's interesting you say that, because I think the thing is, any good work renews itself. You come back to it and it hasn't worn itself out. You're not thinking, oh, I've got to get rid of that picture. Those works have a real freshness about them, and coming into them every day, I'm sure they'd have that sense of, you know, it's like seeing them again for the first time.
Maybe we should have a chat with him.
Yeah.
John Reynolds, the Violet Hour, that's at Papergraphica until the 13th of August.
Yeah.
192 Beeley Ave, Wednesday to Friday, 11 till 5, Saturday, 11 till 2. Papergraphica.co.nz. Now, you're off to the Auckland Art Fair.
Yes, the Auckland Art Fair, which is taking place at the Viaduct in Auckland next week, and it's from the 4th till the 7th. So it's emerged over the last sort of 7 or 8 years as the key event for the visual arts. 40 dealer galleries from Australia and New Zealand, and all of them leading dealer galleries, plus guest speakers. Knight Lansderman from Art Forum is the guest speaker this year. He's a publisher, been involved with it for 30 years. So it's a kind of a grand event for the art world, in the sense a lot of new works will be unveiled. I mean, dealer galleries will be representing key people they represent, and they will also be presenting new work by those artists. So it's a busy event.
How important is this event?
Well, it's important in the sense that I kind of think, you know, Creative New Zealand is one thing. It provides funding, necessary funding for artists for the development of their work. And then there's this other creature, if you like, which is the Auckland Art Fair, which is kind of the commercial world of the dealer gallery. And, well, it is the commercial world of the dealer gallery, and it's really the busyness of that infrastructure. And, I mean, I've had people say to me, if you really want to see what's happening in the art world, don't go to the public galleries, go to the Auckland Art Fair. You know, it's the bustle and the excitement of artists and gallery dealers meeting and the general public. I mean, one of the critical things about it too, it was set up initially in 2005, and Jennifer Buckley, who set it up at the time, I mean, one, to get all the dealers in Auckland, which is how she started, to be pleased to be working with one another, and not just a competition was important, but she really felt that there was a critical need to kind of not demystify the fine arts, but to have a public event where the public could come in and meet with the dealers, meet with the artists, and get a sense that this isn't complicated or mysterious. It's a very accessible, and it's about art communicating with people, and I think that's a really fundamental part of it too.
Okay. Now, there are criticisms that it's elitist. I mean, you have to be invited to exhibit. Are these fair?
No, I think they aren't, because if you look at, say, you could look at some of the art that's developed through the world of academia. Then if you look at the Auckland Art Fair, what you have there is something which is very fundamental to the arts. If art dealers weren't out there selling art, and if the art wasn't connecting with general audiences, it wouldn't work. It's not rarefied in that sense at all. In fact, you know, one of the criticisms of it is that sometimes it's possibly not rarefied enough. It is a marketplace. Of course, these things are all in perspective. If you then compare that with, say, there's the Wellington Art Fair, which is a huge general fair for anybody, a kind of a free-for-all. By comparison, it might look elitist, but I think it's no, I think it's an exciting 3 days. It is a fair, and lots of surprises, lots of great talks and guests. So no, the intention is to connect and get people excited with the world of art.
All right, so you'll be away next week?
For 2 days, yeah.
Okay, but you won't be here on City Life. You've got someone else coming in?
I think we have, possibly we do. We have a special guest coming in.
Special guest, all right. We'll see you the week after then.
Okay.
Have a good time in Auckland.
Thanks.
And thanks for coming to the program. Now, that is City Life for today. Now, again, we do finish with Māori television on the 31st of July, so we want to take this opportunity to thank them for having us on there since we relaunched at the beginning of May. Now, I do have a holiday, competition going on. A family trip to Arana Park. So email me, kaneta@ctv.co.nz, or you can write to me, PO Box 1100 Christchurch, and let me know what you've been up to for the holidays. Now, you can watch episodes of City Life on demand. Go to ctv.co.nz, find the big YouTube logo, click on that, and you'll find all the past episodes there. We're also on Facebook, CTV City Life. You can get in touch with us. You can call Marianne on 30003. No, it's 3777 actually, 033. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.